Hello everyone, in this video I'm creating this image of a character that is inspired by the universe of cyberpunk, and I'm defining the palette that I want to use for my character. Right now I'm defining the shades of metal that I want to use on my the metal boots, and here I'm deciding the palette for the jacket, the pants, as well as the gun and the hair. I tried these patterns on the legs, but they end up not working, so I'm not going to do it. Also the vest, I was thinking of making it a jacket, but I kind of forget about it, and when the time comes I kind of just keep it as a vest. The metal shades that I use and the hues, I kind of wanted to give this worn look, so there's got to be some chipping, there's got to be some color variation, but also there's a lot of reflective elements to it. The fact that I'm reflecting different hues means that I'm not just lighting the local color of the object, I'm actually including some of the potential reflected color from the environment, and that also gives it sort of a nice hue variety, which unfortunately the rest of the image kind of lacks because I then didn't really translate that or transport that into the other areas. Here I'm playing around with the pants, and it's very fun to draw these big folds because the folds aren't really easy to draw, but once you kind of have a grasp of how they work, they become really interesting to draw. They're really fun to draw, but also they convey a lot of perspective and contour of the shape that the fold sits on. And in this case, having the big folds and having those highlights kind of helps transmit that the legs, the pants are heavy and they just fold on the knee. They sort of pile up as they sit on the knee. I haven't created the skin tones, and I'm now adding the skin tones to draw for the face and the arms and hands. The issue is because I'm not zooming in on this image at all, so you can see the image sort of be built up, and I did this on purpose. It's very difficult to actually go in and add the details on the face. I'm doing a half decent job, but I'm not really kind of hitting the shapes correctly. The face looks to be a little bit off perspective because I'm not really shading the sides of the face on the left that much. And here I'm drawing the hair, which is going to be the weakest bit of this whole image. I recognize that hair is difficult to represent in pixel art, but also I'm not really that good at it. It's something I should probably invest more time in shading, but it's just not very usual that you get to draw hair on really, really tiny sprites. And this being a really big sprite, you need those kind of fine highlights to draw the hair, and there's just no space for it here, and I just don't have the practice. Now again, I was going to do the vest as a jacket, but the arm came out so nice that I just thought I'd keep it, even though you should, murder your darlings if it's going to be for the best of the image. But in this case, I think the vest kind of also works. And also the guy with the big gun, of course he's going to want to be showing his big guns as well, so it makes sense for him to wear a vest. Now, this bright highlight that I'm just toning down now was going to supposed to be like a big, bright plastic reflection because I want the vest to be sort of like vinyl or some sort of synthetic thing. But that didn't really make it look vinyl at all. It made it look like it was just like a big wool kind of vest. So by reducing the size and increasing the sharpness of the highlights, you actually convey a much more idea of something that's been either coated in clear coat or varnished or something, and the less bright highlights, if that makes sense, can kind of just be the color being soaked in or the light being soaked in by the material. Not having an environment around, though, doesn't really keep you from adding bounce lights. In this case, having the bounce light on the handle makes it look chrome because you're suggesting a reflection of a thing that's off the camera that you can't see, but you're suggesting this material is so reflective that it's picking up on the objects that you can't even see. And that's why you get to transmit kind of the chrome effect to it. The boots also have that because they have a variety of hues, so that kind of transmits metal way much more than it does, for example, on the vest, which also has reflections, or I mean highlights, but it doesn't really feel like it's transmitting any other color than the local color of the object. Here you can see how much bits of the image are missing because I just took the drawing layer from underneath, and at this point I know that I have like 3 different hues. I have the pinks, the blues, and the skin tones, or sort of yellows, so I'm kind of trying to limit the palette, not go really overboard with the amount of colors. And here, by bringing the background color down, I can kind of see all the pixels that are missing and all the cleanup I have to do. And it's not that I zoom in, and start working on these sections that I'm defining by painting the background in different colors. So I start with the legs and the boots because they're, the most fun. And, after painting on the right layer, I move on to adding not only pixels to sort of cover up the holes, but also start adding some of the transitions between the different clusters of pixels. So some of them are really bright, some are really dark, and they're sitting right next to each other. And you kind of want to, in some cases, reduce that transition impact. Sometimes you want to leave that because you really want the transition to look sharp. And also, for example, on the shoulder, on the knee covers, I kind of want that really dark line underneath because I want it to show that it's a really strong transition. It's a different piece of metal that is sitting on top of another one. The same was with the top of the feet as well. So here I'm going to add eventually another shade of this kind of dark yellow, which isn't really dark yellow. Dark yellow kind of turns into army green, but I want to have this kind of like dark cream color just to be a shade for this tube that's coming off of the left of the gun. And by doing that, you kind of increase the range of colors that you can use, and you can also increase the range of detail that you can add, because now you can have multiple colors suggest different heights and depths. And if you go in and put a bright highlight or you put a really dark shadow, you actually convey much more depth than initially with a lot less of a shade range as I had before. So a lot of this now is really adding just details and adding noise where it didn't exist. As you can see here, I'm just adding lines to reduce the flatness of this surface. This is supposed to be an interesting gun, but I'll be honest with you, I just add the gun there for the pose. It was like the thing I thought the least about when I was drawing the character initially. I just wanted to get the pose, I wanted to get the clothing and just the idea, the concept of this character having this really big, heavy gun, just kind of posing with it. I really didn't put that much thought into the gun itself. Also, that shadow on the arm on the right helps convey the volume of the muscles of the forearm and the arm, but it's just a one color. And the reason for that is that I want to draw the attention away from that. I kind of want to push that arm way back into the back of the image. Here I decided to change the zip color to a yellow because I was using a shade that was present on the vest shading. And the problem with that is that because it's a shade that you use for volume, you might suggest a different volume on the zipper than it really has. On the face here, I'm now zooming in, I'm adding more detail on the left, more area on the left so that you can really see what it looks like. And just changing the shape of the face really lit a bit better. The character looks a bit like not really interested. I should have given him an expression or something, but I'm having more trouble and I'm thinking more about the hair rather than the face, because the face is satisfactory for me. The hair is not really looking that well. Also, the front of the gun, I had this idea of maybe that would kind of like the two ends of the gun could sort of connect with some light beam and then shoot it off. And it kind of looked like a hydraulic thing that firemen use. So this is the final image. I made some fixes on the hair, and it turned out interesting. I quite like how it looks, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. Take care.